Good. Michael, thank you for making the trip up.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're coming from Connecticut, right? So.
Yep.
How was that drive?
2.5 hours. No traffic, skated up. Perfect.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Really appreciate you being on the team and helping us out with judging and all that stuff. So with the NEMMEC interviews, where this is like our first event, we got a lot of first-time builders coming out, bringing out our first-time competitors and stuff coming out, I think. We're focusing on firsts and beginnings and all that kind of stuff. So do you remember what your first model was?
Oh, God. No. I mean, I started back in the 80s, and I was predominantly back then an armor modeler.
Okay.
And there was a smattering of the old Star Wars kits back then, and I built some of that stuff, and my skills then were not great, and those kits weren't great, so there was a lot of disappointment. So to me, armor kind of became my thing, where I kind of cut my teeth and brought my skills up, and then as I got older, I kind of got out of the hobby and played music for a bunch of years, and then had my own kids and was at home, and I needed to do something, and I kind of came back into it, and I hadn't realized that there had been this explosion of like Gunpla modeling, and it was all stuff that I had interest in when I was younger, but I was unaware that these kits existed, and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever, because I want to get back in building, but I didn't want to do armor anymore.
Sure. It makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
That's really cool. Do you remember what your first model that you might have entered in a competition was?
It was probably an armor diorama back in the day.
Okay.
I mean, I started when I was younger. There wasn't, and I mean, if there was an IPMS show, I was not aware of it.
Sure.
So like the local like fairs always had like model kits, and you could bring them and you could win a ribbon, and like the day I won a blue ribbon was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So, and that was like the precursor to IPMS shows. And then when I got older, I did some of the IPMS shows and kind of guessed that all situation, and I was like, cool. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so kind of in that same vein, like I feel like, I mean, you've been building for a while. Every model we build, you always find that thing that like, oh, I could have done that better. There's always something that we want to improve on.
Yeah.
But especially early on. The first model you build is probably the one that you got the biggest thing that you, and usually, especially with competition or not, like you find that thing and you're like, I don't want to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that thing is, or what you're like?
I think my thing was, it started with build quality because I was so excited to build it. I wanted to paint it and put it in a scene. And then it became, I had a little bit more refinement, and then it became, I'm over-weathering the crap out of this. Like, I need to kind of pull that back. And now it's more into the really minute detail stuff. And that's kind of the stuff that I really want to focus in the next few years, to just, the process of building is more of the appeal to me than the end thing. I mean, literally, any of the models I have here, like, somebody could walk off with it today. I honestly wouldn't care. I'm a process guy. That gives me the flow state of being in the moment and doing the thing. That's what I love about the hobby. And I've caught myself, like, I got to get this done for the show. I got to get this done for ValleyCon. I got to get and I was like, this year I did no competitions at all. I was like, I'm not building for competitions anymore, and just really slowed everything down, and it was way more enjoyable. I was like, okay, what really is my motivation here? Am I building to be in a show, or am I building to enjoy it and then going to shows to be in the community?
Right.
And that's kind of when you had this thing, I was like, I want to be a part of that. I don't need to show anything. I want to enable it to happen.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
So thank you for having this, because it's really awesome.
Appreciate you being on the team. So kind of to end on a note related directly to the competition itself, as a judge today, what are you most looking forward to seeing on the table? Like, what excites you about the next few hours when you start judging?
I think the thing that excites me is everybody's individual interpretation and their take on builds. And that's the thing that's always kind of excited me about the Gunpla community, is because there's just this level of expansion in terms of creativity that you don't really see on the historical kind of military modeling side, because they have their own separate channels that they go down, and I fully support that as well. But there's something about the vitality of the builders in this community that just is so exciting to be around, and it's just so exciting to watch a progression of builds. Like, if you go to enough shows, you see enough builders, and you see a steady progression.
Sure.
And it's kind of the influence of them seeing other builds, and it's just like, it's kind of like you know, a rising tide lifts all boats situation.
Right,
And I really love that.
I'm definitely looking forward, if we do this again, say next year, just to see year over year
Yeah,
as people improve.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I expect that's what we'll see, because that's
100%.
a pretty common trend. Cool. Well, once again, thank you for being on the judging team.
Thank you for
and
having
taking
me.
the trip up. Glad to have you.